Hello, my name is Hannah Aroni. I'm one of the 3 directors of Helping Hands, and I'm also 1/5 of Autistic. I'm going to talk a little bit today about the origins of this show. When Autistic created its first ever show, Them Aspies, back in 2014, I was doing some research support for that show, and while I was online reading autistic perspectives on all sorts of things, I ran across this one article that has kind of haunted me ever since. It was by Julia Bascom, and it was called Quiet Hands. It talked about one of the world's most popular autism therapies and the way that it was designed to repress autistic ways of being and existing in the world, and the way that that had been normalized in the world. I'm a trainee social worker, and so I think it's pretty important to be thinking carefully about what help means. Just because you're a well-meaning person, just because you intend to do good, doesn't necessarily mean that the things you do will do good. Social work has a pretty dark history in a lot of ways. Social workers have been complicit in the institutionalization of disabled people. Social workers have been pretty intensely involved in things like the Stolen Generation. There are 3 concepts from social work that have been really influential in creating this show. One of them is the idea of reflective practice, which is the idea that help is something that always has an underlying ideology, and help is something that you are always doing with reference to your own ideas about what makes a good world, what makes a happy person, what makes a functioning society. And those ideas come from the way you were raised, they come from everything that you've been taught, they come from your own preferences. And so it makes sense to be self-reflecting and to be checking in with other people about whether the help that you're giving is the help that another person wants, or whether it's just the help that you thought was right. The second idea is something called Arnstein's Ladder of Citizen Control. It's a tool that you can use to look at the different levels of citizen participation in services, in the way that anything in the world is planned, really. And at the bottom of the ladder is manipulation, and at the top of the ladder is partnership or self-determination. And the majority of autism services, the majority of ways of helping autistic people, they are at the bottom of that ladder. The third idea is the idea of person-environment fit. It's an idea social workers sometimes use to think about why something is going wrong in somebody's life, or why somebody is really struggling in the place that they're in. A lot of the time, help is focused on changing the person. Sometimes help is focused on changing the environment. A lot of the time it makes sense to begin by asking, what's the misfit between the person and the environment? And does it always make sense to change the person to fit the environment, or should it be the other way around?